All right, welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. Welcome, my lovely viewers. In today's video, call it um, um, Happy Eid, right? Happy Eid to my Muslims brothers and sisters, right? I wish you well in this season of celebration. I wish you the best in everything you do, and I wish you well. Thank you, and welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. All right, so today's video, I will be talking about authenticating, how to authenticate Jenkins with a GitHub app, right? So using Jenkins and GitHub app. Okay, I feel this is a much more robust way, all right, of 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 relating with Jenkins and GitHub, all right, when you use a GitHub app with Jenkins. Okay, so this authentication, this process of authenticating Jenkins with a GitHub app gives birth to what I'm going to treat today, all right, called GitHub Organization. How to configure a GitHub organization with Jenkins. Now, here's the idea, all right. I know most of you might not have come across this, um, maybe due to where you work. You know, um, these are not implemented. These are not GitHub organization is not implemented, right? But due to my experience and then where I work, okay, and this I've implemented this in where I work. So we use this heavily, all right, and it makes work easier. We use GitHub organizations with Jenkins, and it makes work easier for us. I'm going to explain, all right, aside the definition of what GitHub organization with Jenkins is. I'm going to show us a pictorial explanation of what I'm trying to achieve, right? So let's look at what this is. Now, this says the GitHub organization project creates a multi-branch pipeline, right, for each repository in an organization. The GitHub organization project creates a multi-branch pipeline for each repository. Now, when we say a multi-branch pipeline, now a multi-branch, now let me take example, a multi-branch pipeline for each repository in an organization. Now, let's say this is my pipeline. Pipeline is a multi-branch. Great. So this is my multi-branch pipeline. All right. It says that it creates multi-branch pipeline for each repository. Now, for each repository that I have in what in GitHub, it's going to create a branch line for a multi pipeline. It's going to create a pipeline for it. So this is what it says. So now for each repository, repo, let's say repo one. Let me give it a label. So this is repo one. I have another repository. Sorry. Copy and paste. Let me call it repo 2. I have another repository. Let me call it repo n, the nth repository. All right, up to the nth repository. Now, what this definition is saying that the GitHub organization enables you to create a multi-branch pipeline for each repository, for each of these repositories, repo 1, repo 2, repo 3, repo 4, up to repo n, in an organization. Now, this multi-branch pipeline is going to be like a folder, all right? This guy is going to be like a folder. This guy is going to be like a folder. This multi-branch pipeline is going to be what? Like a folder. Once that has been created, inside of this folder, you can now start creating these pipelines. It does it automatically, right? This is what that definition is telling us. These things are done automatically. So you have a folder. In your folder, you are managing all of your repositories, your GitHub repositories inside of Jenkins. You are managing your entire GitHub repositories, all right? Inside of Jenkins. So go for that. Now, this multi-branch pipeline then creates a separate project. We've already explained that. For each branch that contains a Jenkins file in the top level directory. All right. I have other pictorial diagram below which will explain this properly. All right. So let's take a look at that. Or maybe when I start the implementation, you come to understand exactly what I'm trying to talk about. Now, this is the architecture. All right. So now this is Jenkins and we have GitHub. First, we must what? Authenticate, which is this part, right? Authenticate Jenkins with GitHub with using what? A GitHub app, right? So yeah, we're going to authenticate this guy to this guy with the help of a GitHub app. So this is what we're going to use, all right? I don't like this color. Apologies, man. All right? So we're going to use what? A GitHub app. Move this guy upward. We're going to use a GitHub app, all right, to create that authentication between Jenkins and what? GitHub. Now, on GitHub side, okay, on GitHub side, we already have organization, we have repositories, and each of these repositories, they have branches. And each of these branches, they have a Jenkins file. Jenkins file. All right. Each of these branches have their corresponding what? Jenkins file. Let me place on it. All right. They have the corresponding what? Jenkins file. Now, on Jenkins side, we just need to create a folder, a multi-branch folder. All right. A multi-branch, let me copy this. I will use it there. Great. So on Jenkins side, we just need to create what? A multi-branch, all right? A multi-branch pipeline, which is a folder. In that folder, we are going to have different repositories already synced from GitHub. Different repositories already synced from GitHub. All right? So let's look at an example on how to achieve this. This is an example. Now, on Jenkins, let me copy this. Copy. Sorry. Great. On Jenkins, I'm creating a multi-branch pipeline, right? A multi-branch pipeline in the form of a folder, which is organizational folder. All right, great. Now, this organizational folder is by default, all right, is going to sync all the repositories that has a Jenkins file, right? On repository 1, repository 2, repository 3, up to the number of repositories that I have, right? It's going to sync everything from GitHub side to what? To the folder side. Let's have a demo. We'll have a demo, and when we have a demo, this whole thing will be more clearer to us. All right. So great. So I think this is all we have about when we talk about GitHub organizations with what? Jenkins. All right. So without further ado, let us look at how to implement this GitHub organization. All right. Without further ado, let's look at how to implement GitHub organization in Jenkins. Now, first thing first, I'm going to create an EC2 instance. On that EC2 instance, I'm going to install Jenkins on it. So let's go quickly as let's go quickly as create an EC2 instance. Let me call that Jenkins server. Okay, That's too much of a time. Keep here, Frankie. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're gonna enjoy this, guys. All right, let's launch. So I've just created a Jenkins server. So on here, I'm going to install my I've just created an EC2 instance. On here, I'm going to install Jenkins. All right, I'm going to install Jenkins. Okay, so while we're waiting for this system to get ready, let's go to Google and search for how to install Jenkins in Amazon Linux. In Amazon Linux. Let's open this link. Open that link. Let's see what Jenkins has on that link. Okay, let's see. Let's see what they have. Okay, let's see. All right, they say we should follow, download and install Jenkins. All right, so now that my system is ready, okay, let's gain access to the instance. Let's gain access to that instance. All right, great. Sudo dash I. All right, so you can see from our whiteboard, I've created the EC2 instance. I'm now on what step two, install Jenkins on the EC2 instance. So I'll be following these Jenkins documentation to install Jenkins. All right, so first thing first, I need to do this. All right, copy. I need to do that. Okay, this has been downloaded. Okay, that's fine. And the next one is using RPM to update that, to import the keys. Um, that has been done. The next is Yum upgrade. Um, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Mm, 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 mm. Come up. All right, great. So the next we need to do is to using Amazon Linux Extra to install what? Uh, OpenJDK version 11, right? Because Jenkins requires Java. Jenkins needs Java. Jenkins needs Java. Jenkins needs Java. All right. So once that is there, we already have Java now. I can check for the Java version. What's the command again? All right. So I have Java version 11. All right. Great. So the next is what? Installing what? Jenkins officially. So I can now say yum install Jenkins. Yum install Jenkins. Yum install Jenkins. I think okay. Next is to enable Jenkins service. Enable the Jenkins service upon restart, and let's start Jenkins service. Let's start off Jenkins service. Great. I think that's all. Great. Take some time while we are waiting for it. So let's now go to AWS and pick the IP of my Jenkins server. Here's the IP. Copy it. Go to your web browser, column 8080. So remember, Jenkins runs on port 8080. Okay, so I need to open the port 8080 on my security group. Security group that is not open. So open the spot on your security group, edit inbound rules. Okay, add a rule, custom TCP 8080 anywhere, and save. Great. So we should have this guy come up now. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, do we have the initial password? I should have it somewhere. It's like I missed that password. But notwithstanding, you can always get the initial password. So, we can query this file from our Jenkins server. So, all we need to do is just to cut the file, and we should have the Jenkins initial password. So, that's the Jenkins initial password. Bring it over here, paste it, and click on what? Continue. Okay, great. So let's install suggested plugins. So click on install suggested plugins. Okay, so we'll wait for a while. I take some time, so I'll pause it, and once it's done, I'll be right back. All right, guys. So I think we are almost done. We are almost done with the initial installation of the plugins. All right, Jenkins is heavily reliable on plugins. So let's create a user. Let's call that user. Let me call it Frank. Password is 1234 1234 56 56. Okay, full name and email. Save and continue. All right, it requires an email. Obviously, obviously, save and continue. Okay, great. That's fine. Save and finish. Save and finish. So you can see from our dashboard, step number 2, we've installed Jenkins on the EC2 instance. Now, we've also accessed the interface of the installed Jenkins server, right? So that's great. So the next step will be what? Creating a GitHub app. Let's look at, I'll finish. Let's create a GitHub app. Save and finish. All right, start using Jenkins. All right, now we have Jenkins. Now, from sorry guys. Oh, sorry. Now from from our dashboard. All right, from the dashboard, we need to what? Create what? A GitHub app. Step number 4. Step number 4. So what we do, we going to uh, open the Cognito and go to GitHub. So I already have my GitHub open. So this is my GitHub account. So I'm going to create um, um, a GitHub app. All right. Let's create a GitHub app. So come to your profile, your organizational profile, right, and go to what? Settings. Click on settings. Scroll down and go to what? Developer settings. Developer what? Settings. So click on developer settings. So this is a process of what? Creating a GitHub app. Now, GitHub app. So currently I don't have any GitHub app. So I need to create a new GitHub app. So click on what? New GitHub app. And I'll give it a name. So the name, I could call it my organizational name. So let me say class demo 2 or any name. Could be any name, man. Doesn't have to be class demo 2. Could be any name. So I think that's it. Then the home URL, I can find the URL to be logical URL. So let's say https class demo 2, all right, .com. Okay. Um, okay. Callback URL, you can leave that empty. Expire that authorization. Scroll down. Scroll. Setup URL is optional. Okay. And webhook. So we need to set up webhook for unattended deployment. Unattended deployment means deployment um, that is devoid of human intervention. All right. So all I need to do is whenever there's a push to a particular branch of a repository, that commit should trigger my pipeline on Jenkins. All right. So for that, I will be using my entire Jenkins URL. So let's go to Jenkins. Let's go back to Jenkins. This is what I have on Jenkins. Oh, sorry. Here is my Jenkins. Okay, yes, yeah. So on Jenkins, I'm going to go to manage Jenkins and configure system, okay, and pick the full URL, all right, of my Jenkins server. So let's scroll. All right, so this is the full URL of my Jenkins server. So copy it as it is and go back to your GitHub app and paste it here. Paste it here slash GitHub dash webhook. All right. So this is how you create a webhook with Jenkins from GitHub. Okay, the Jenkins URL followed by what? This. Great. So now let's look at permissions. So there are different permissions we need to look into. First is the repository permissions. So what I will do, I will click on repository what permissions. So click on repository permissions. So in here, I'm going to tick assign some level of permissions. Okay, I'm going to assign some levels of permissions. So um, first in here would be admin. So administration, I'll give it read only access. The next is checks. So checks will be read and write. Code scanning, don't need that. Commit statuses. Commit statuses, I'll put it at read and write. Okay. Content, do we have content? Content will be read only. Okay. Then what else? What else? Webhooks. By default, metadata is set to read only. Finally, we have webhooks. Webhooks will be set towards read and write. Now, at the organizational level, I don't think we have any permission to grant. All has to be no access. All right, so that's fine. Then see, the same thing applies to account level permission. It has to be the way it is. So also we also need to look at some events. We also need to subscribe to some events. Okay. So one of those events will be check run. Do we have check run? Yes. So you have to check the box. And the other will be check suite. All right. So check suite is here. And the other is pull request. Do we have a pull request? Do we have a pull? We don't have a pull request. We should have a pull request. It should be somewhere. My eyes. All right. The other one will be push. Do we have push? Do we have push? We have push. Uh, repository dispatch release. We don't have a pull request. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. I think that's all we need to do. Then where can this GitHub app be installed? Can be installed on this account. All right. Can be installed on any account. So it can be installed on this account. So I'm using what? This class demo account to install the GitHub app. So I'll create, once I'm done, I'll click on what? Create GitHub app. But before then, let's go back to the entire process one more time. All right. So remember, I click on what? My profile icon. Then I click on what? Settings. All right. Settings brought me to a page before. And on that page, scroll to the bottom, you will see what? Developer settings. And click on what? Developer settings. Once you click on developer settings, it will bring you what? To this page. No, it won't bring you to this page. It will bring you to a page where you need to create a new GitHub app. So all you need to do is to click the new GitHub app icon. Once you click on the new GitHub app icon, it will bring you what? To this page. All right. While on this page, you can now start creating the settings for your GitHub app. The GitHub app name, class demo 2, homepage URL, could be anything, and all of that. All right. Webhook, should be active. Create a webhook and your permissions, set your permissions, and also set your words, subscribe to your different events, and all of that. All right. I think that we are now fine. We are okay. Okay. So let's now create the app. Click on what? Create app. All right. Registration was successful. You must generate a private key in order to install your what? GitHub app. So we are being told that we must generate what? A private key. So this GitHub app has been created. So all we need to do, we need to keep these credentials, these details very safe, especially the app ID. So all I need to do is just to copy this, copy. All right, great. Right click, copy. Let me save it somewhere. Let me save it somewhere. Um, let me save it somewhere. New notes. Okay, great. All right, I have it there. Save. Okay, so what's next do we need to do? I think that's fine. That's fine. Okay. All right, so just scroll to the bottom and click on what? Generate a private key, because we are being told on this banner that registration of the app was successful and that we must generate a private key in order to install your GitHub app. All right, great. So let's scroll to the bottom and click on what? Generate private key. So click on generate private key. So the moment I click on generate private key, automatically it's going to generate a .pem file, right? And that file will be downloaded. So this file is already downloaded, right? You need a private key to sign. All right, it's been downloaded. Okay, great. So once the file has been downloaded, the next save changes. That's fine. So the next thing we need to do now is what? Is to install the app. Let's click on save changes and see what happens. All right. So we've clicked on what? Save changes. We've saved these changes and fine. Got it. Your GitHub app has been updated. So all we need to do now is to what? Click on what? Install the app. Click on install app. All right. So here is the app. So just click on what? Install and everything should be fine. Click on what? Install. Install, yes. To all repositories, yes. Install. Install. Okay, class demo was installed on class demo 2 account. So this app has successfully what? Been installed. All right. We've successfully installed the app. Now the next step, let's look at what we have on Jenkins side, no, on our dashboard. So this is on dashboard. So on step 5, we've installed the GitHub app on GitHub, right? So next step is to configure authentication by creating Jenkins credentials with the GitHub app settings. All right. So now before we go ahead, all right, to create this authentication between Jenkins and GitHub, we need to convert the private key, all right, to a special kind of private key. So what we need to do is, remember, we need to convert the private key for it to be usable on Jenkins. All right. If you don't convert it, it might not work. Right. We need to convert the private key, and to do that, we will use what? Open SSL. So here is a command to make that work. So I'll copy this command. I'll be sharing this command on our terminal. Remember, I down the key, the file, the .pem file was downloaded to my base machine, which is somewhere around. This is the file, right? Class demo. This is private key.pem. So this is this file, all right? So it is not. I need to convert this file. Okay, I need to convert the file, and the command to convert the file is this command, which I have here. All right. So here is the command. Okay. So let's go to let's look at it. Open SSL, PKCS 8, and all right. So use this command to convert the file. So this is where I need to key in the file, and the file name is class demo with the date private dash key dot pen, and I'm going to output the converted fingerprint. All right, I'm going to output converted fingerprint in the name of converted dash github dash app dot pen. All right, so if I hit enter, the file has been converted. So now if I check the content of the converted file, I should have this is a file. So if I open the file, so this is what we have. So this is what we need to use between in Jenkins while creating what the authentication. All right. So that file has been created. So what I will do now is let's go back to our whiteboard. So okay, first this should be number 6. Sorry, I didn't mention that. This should be number 6. Convert the uh, private key downloaded from GitHub, all right, using OpenSSL, right? So here's a command which we use. So the command is there. The command has been pasted there for you. Okay, so this is a command. Command has been pasted there. So let me increase the font a bit. 10, that's fine. That's okay. All right, great. Okay, so that's it. Now, step 7 says configure authentication by creating Jenkins credential. So I'll go to my Jenkins server. All right, go to my Jenkins server, click on manage Jenkins, and let's look at credentials. Click on credentials, click on global. All right, and click on what? Add credential. So click on add credential. Now, the kind of credential we are creating, the kind is what? It's a GitHub app. Click on GitHub app, all right, and click on what's supposed to have other options. Click on create. Oh, sorry, this guy. All right, so avoid this Chrome. You always see this, all right, to avoid this. So, all right, so I'll set that up later. Now it's coming. So let me resolve this issue. Duplicate. Let me resolve this quickly. Go into Jenkins app, scroll down, come to security, So to stop seeing this error 4.3, no valid Chrome. So all we need to do, we need to enable proxy compatibility. All right, under CSRF protection. Come here, check this box, apply. You always get it, but that's fine to be all right. So let's refresh. We should be fine. Go back, enable this, save. All right, I think we are fine now. I think that has been settled. That has been settled. So if I refresh this, it's been settled. So the kind is what? GitHub app. Great. So the ID is going to be the ID of the app. Let's look at the app. So app ID is this. Copy, copy, and paste. That's the app ID. The description, you can just say Jenkins to GitHub authentication. Oh, sorry. The app ID comes there. Sorry, guys. App ID comes there. And the ID, I can give it class demo 2, right? It could be anything, all right? It could be anything, but just keep it simple. Class demo 2. All right, great. Then yeah, so I need to add the private key that we converted, the converted private key, mind you, the converted private key. So I'll click on what? Add, to give me a space to impute those values. So I'll come over here, and what I would do is I will try to open the file, vim convert this, and enter. So I'll copy the entire fingerprint of this file, copy entire content of the converted private key, paste it. That's all. And let's test our connection to see if everything is working as expected. So you click on test connection, and if everything is fine, we should have a success. You can see At this point, we have successfully authenticated Jenkins with the GitHub app. All right, because we are getting what a 400. So I say 400, a 200, all right, which is a success, right? Remaining rate limit. So this has been successful. All you need to do was click on what create. So once you click on create, this credential has been what created. So this is a GitHub Jenkins credential. All right, great. Now we are now set. Now let's go to our whiteboard again. So now we've configured authentication by creating Jenkins credential with the GitHub app settings. The next is what is to create the organization what folder. All right. So to create the organization folder, we'll go to what Jenkins one more time. Let me close this. Go to Jenkins one more time and go to dashboard, click on new item, click on new item, and let's scroll. Now below here you see what create organization folder, right? It creates a set of multi-branch projects subfolders by scanning for repositories. So click on this guy, give it a name. Let me call it my organization name is class demo 2. Let's say that's my organizational name. All right, class demo 2 is going to be an organizational folder. Then click on what okay. All right, okay, so this has been created. All right, class demo 2. Now what we need to do, we need to set the project. So come to project, add what add your source. Your source is going to be a GitHub organization. All right. So let's pick the credential. Our credential is here. So once I pick this credential, automatically this API endpoint would be populated. All right. It will populate it. So once I pick the credential, let's see, it has been added. You can see now, GitHub app verified. So it is verified. So the owner will be class demo 2, which we have here. The class demo 2, great. So that's the owner. Then branch discovery. Let's look at branch discovery. I'll scroll to the bottom. I'm going to add another what's it called, another field. So the kind of field I'll add here, I'll add filter by name with wildcards. Make sure, because these options have categories. This is the repository category. This is within repository category, because they are the same thing. All right. And also have general category. Make sure that the category you're picking is under repositories. All right, repositories. So click on what filter by what name with what wildcards. So once that has been chosen, let's go to the top. It should be at the top. This is within repository. Now this is with repositories. All right, filter by name wildcards. So now I'm putting wildcards here to pick all the branches, any branch. I can as well define sorry, all the repositories. All right, I want to pick all the repositories that has a Jenkins file. I can as well define the repositories by their names. All right, but I just want to show us, let's just select, let's just use asterisk. All right, okay, asterisk is going to pick all of the repositories, all of the repositories automatically without me doing anything. So all we need to do is just click on apply. So the moment you click on apply, let's go and check. Okay, the API endpoint is not populated yet. Click on save. Click on save. Now this folder has been created. Okay, if we scan now, we're not going to get anything. If I click on scan, all right, we're not going to get anything, any repository, because there's no Jenkins file and I've not created any repository on my GitHub organization. So if I go back to configure, we should see that this endpoint has been populated. You can see the API endpoint from GitHub organization has been populated. So that's fine. Click on save. Click on save. So this is what we need to do. So we need to go back to GitHub itself. Come to GitHub, click on your organization, and we need to create some repositories. All right. Let's create some repositories now. Click on repository. Click on new repository. Now let's give it a name. Let me call it one. Let me say Angular app. This is the Angular app v2 version 2, right? So this is verse repository. This repository is going to be public, and I'm going to add the README file and create a repository. Now I have the first repository. Let me create another repository. Come back over here and click on repositories. New repository. Let me call it Node Node.js Node.js Express app. I'm just giving it random names, right? Add a README file and what create the repository. So I have two repositories I'm going to what demonstrate with. Okay, so far, if I go to my Jenkins, if I scan, if I scan, I won't see these repositories, all right? If I scan, I won't see those repositories because I've not added a Jenkins file. I'll only get to see them when I add a Jenkins file. So let's go back. Let's go back to our GitHub. So on this Node Express, I'm going to add a file, create a new file, and that file would be Jenkins, all right? It's a Jenkins file. Jenkins file. So let me just create a simple declarative pipeline agent any. Okay. Um, Let me just look sample Jenkins declarative pipeline. Okay. Um, Pipeline syntax. Okay. Just simple. Put it there and let's just watch. All right. So let me take something like this. Copy, come over here and let's paste. Great. So I have this simple pipeline that has just one stage. Okay, let me just give it two stages. All right, this is the first stage. Copy, great, and great. So next stage will be this. Let's give it three stages. Next stage. All right. So it's this three-stage pipeline. Um, let's put this world. Let me call this world. Okay. Let me call this Africa. I can say echo, welcome to Africa. Okay, welcome to Africa. The last one will be Nigeria. Okay, West Africa. West Africa. And say echo, welcome to West Africa. Okay. Then the last stage, I need to add Nigeria. So it's a four stage pipeline. So Nigeria is a stage. There's a stage. Welcome to Nigeria. Okay, so this is a four stage pipeline. All right. So this and this is covered. This okay. I need to one more brace. It's covered. So this and this also covered. This and this is covered. Then finally this and I might remove this option. I don't need this. So this is then stage. Okay, finally we have the last one, which is that. Okay, so this is my pipeline. So I'm going to commit. So the moment I commit this, I should have something ongoing in my Jenkins. So I have a Jenkins file now. So let's go to Jenkins. Let's go to Jenkins, and this should have scanned automatically because of the presence. You can see because of what's it called? I set a git. I set a webhook. All right, I set a webhook. Okay, so you can see I now have a folder, a repository. You can see one repository found. Look at this. Look at what I have here. Node.js Express app because of I created what a Jenkins file. A Jenkins file must be existing inside of the repository. All right. So let me copy this. I will do the same thing. I've copied. So let me go to my uh, organization name and look for the Angular app v2, and I'm going to add a file. Let's add a file. Add a file. Let's call the file Jenkins file. So I'll paste it and I'll click on what commit and click on commit changes. So immediately this is done, if I go to my Jenkins, just watch, this should come. So let me refresh. You can see it has scanned already. Class demo Angular app is already here. So it's scanning, all right? So it's building. So if I open this, we should see that it's already building automatically, is building the application, all right? So I'm having some little error. So this is something maybe to resolve later. Was the a recurrent git is using credential blah 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 blah. All right, so this is something we will need to resolve later. But the idea of today's today's video is to show us how to organize your repositories, all right, your repositories in a single folder, all right. So you can see I have at the dashboard level, I have a single folder. In this folder, I'm going to have all of my organizational repositories, my GitHub organizational repositories in what in this folder. So if I decide to go to GitHub again and create a new repository, create a new repo. Let me call it um, Lagos Nigeria app. Okay, Lagos Nigeria app. Okay, and add the README file. Click on create repository. Okay, the moment I add a Jenkins file, come over here, add a Jenkins file, Jenkins file, come down, paste it, and click on what commit changes. Okay, now let's go to what Jenkins side. So on Jenkins side, automatically I should have this. Just watch below build. You can see now it came up automatically. Lagos Nigeria app. So if I refresh, I should have a new repository called what Lagos Nigeria app. So my lovely viewers, with this setup in place, we've seen how we have been able, all right, we've been able to create a GitHub organization, all right, to create a GitHub organization with Jenkins. And the idea is for you to have a single folder where all of your GitHub repositories would be managed from will be managed from. So let's go back to the definition. So the definition says the GitHub organization project creates a multi-branch pipeline for each repository in an organization. This multi-branch pipeline then creates a separate project for each branch that contains a Jenkins file in the top level directory. So as you can see, we have successfully implemented a GitHub organization with what Jenkins. Thank you so much, my lovely viewers. And I hope this session has been very, very informative. And I hope to see you in our next episode. And to add to and to top it up, please, 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 please recommend our channel to your friends, to your network. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe. We need your support, guys. We need your support. We need your support. So thank you, and then see you in our next video release. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Thank you, and see you at the top.